Michael Jordan's baseball career was that it was a failure. He only batted .202 and returned to the NBA after just one season in Double-A. However, the team's play-by-play announcer and hitting coach both said they believed MJ would have made the majors if he would have continued playing because of his work ethic and immediate improvement. So, Shannon, how far could he have gone if he had stuck with baseball, in your opinion?
I always felt, Skip, he was coming back to basketball, so I don't believe he'd have been around long enough to make it up to the majors. Also, Skip, I just think 14 years is too much time for someone to be away from a sport to come back and then try to compete at the very highest levels. So for me, he started his career off, Skip, he had a 13-game hitting streak, and then he struggled with the breaking ball, with the off-speed pitches. If you look at his average in Double-A, Skip, 202, 3 home runs, 51 RBIs. He had 30 stolen bases, but he was caught 18 times. He had 114 strikeouts. And so when you look at it, I understand they said, oh, he had a promising career. It looked like he'd have been promising. 1,500 at bats. What are we looking at, Skip? What, 2, 3, 4 seasons down in the minors? He didn't have that kind of time. I always felt he was going back, Skip, to basketball. And so we never know. The thing is, Skip, if Michael Jordan, in baseball, you might have a 20-game, hitless streak. Michael Jordan is not going 20 games, Skip, and not scoring a basket. Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Skip, if you hit 3 out of 10, you're going to the Hall of Fame in baseball. Michael Jordan's not going anywhere through shooting 3 out of 10 in basketball, Skip. So how he's judged in being Michael Jordan, Skip, I just think only the best would have done for him. He would have needed to be Barry Bonds. He would have needed to be what we see at Mike Trout now in order for him to deem that a success. And so, Skip, I don't, I'm not the biggest baseball aficionado. I understand the rules and know all the history of the game, Skip. But I don't know if he'd have been able to stick around long enough to wait it out. At that point in time, Skip, he was, what, 31, 32 years of age? And to stick around another 3, 4 years, I don't see it happening, Skip, but that's just me.
Well, this is just me. I believe if he had stuck with it, because his father wanted him to play baseball from the start when he was growing up, I believe he would have made it to the big leagues. Would he have been a star? I doubt it. The problem was he's too tall and long. How many 6'6" sluggers did we see? Dave Kingman, if people remember Dave Winfield. It just didn't happen. Yeah, Dave Winfield. It's hard. Your swing is too long. And yet, for Michael Jordan to come out of pro basketball and step right into Double-A after not having played for 14 years since you were a junior in high school, and the only reason they had to throw him into the fire in Double-A was because the stadiums weren't big enough at Class A ball, rookie league ball, to handle the media turnout that was going to turn out for the Birmingham Barons. So at least in Birmingham, the stadium was big enough that they could handle the media throng. But it's hard at Double-A because there are so many big league prospects that you're going to have to be hitting against. And it was miraculous that he started early on with a 13-game hitting streak, and then Terry Francona and the hitting coach and the play-by-play man for the Birmingham Barons, who is still there as the play-by-play man, all said that by August, early September, they were seeing signs of huge progress as he started to really get acclimated to hitting the breaking ball. And people don't remember, he went to the Arizona Fall League the next fall and hit .255 against even higher level of competition. So he was on an arc to make it to the big leagues. And in fact, the most damaging article written about him was by a friend of mine named Steve Wolf. I came up in the newspaper business with Steve Wolf, and he became a top writer at Sports Illustrated. And that spring training and early in that season, Steve followed Michael in Birmingham and wrote a cover story that had the cover headline of "Bag It, Michael, Jordan and the White Sox are embarrassing baseball." Steve Wolf went back that year in August and followed him for a while and decided, Steve said, he wrote this for ESPN.com yesterday, that he was wrong. And he wrote a mea culpa that when he presented it to his Sports Illustrated editors, they said, no, we can't run this. We don't love it. We don't want to admit that we were wrong. And they killed his mea culpa. So Steve now wrote his mea culpa for ESPN.com, these many years later. He's saying, yes, he believes he could have made it to the big leagues. Well, why did Michael go back to the Bulls? Well, baseball was in strike mode. Remember, they were going with replacement players, and Michael wanted no part of being a replacement player. So I don't know what would have happened, Shannon, if baseball had been business as usual with no strike. I don't know, but what he had been smitten enough that he would have stuck with it. Maybe it would have changed history in the NBA, but because of the strike, he finally said, heck with this, and he went back for 1 practice, 2, 3 practices with the Bulls and finally said, I'm going to do this again. And Terry Francona said one great thing about baseball is it relit his competitive fire for basketball. So I think it was an amazing thing that he did.
Skip, you talk about the article, the guy, what I've known over my career and playing sports and being in this side, the disrespect is always louder than the apology. Because as you said, Skip, it was front page, it was headline, it was the cover of Sports Illustrated. And then when he write it, now it's not, even though he wrote it for ESPN, it's not going to be the same as that headline. So the disrespect is always louder than the apology. And that's what we have to be mindful of. Skip, yeah, Michael is extremely competitive. That's why that's the problem that he ran in, Skip, with gambling. It's not good enough for him to just go play around the golf with some buddies and, you know, bet $5, $10. No. $5, $10 leads to $5, $10,000, $20, $30, $50, $100,000. Next thing you know, he was down $1 million. But that's the way he plays. Everything is, that's the competition. Because nothing is like, and that's what guys, Skip, all athletes will tell you, there's nothing that will replace the competition of what you left. Be it baseball, basketball, football, soccer. How do I fill that competitive void? What can I do, Skip? People turn to gambling. Well, Mike had the money, so it was no problem for him. And so when he got to baseball, and then all of a sudden, because you remember now, he left basketball at the apex, and now all of a sudden he's traveling around. It's not a private jet. It's not a G4. He's not on a G5, Skip. He's on a bus, a Bluebird, one of those buses that we used to ride to school. Yep. So one of those, Skip. And so now he's like, hold on, wait a minute. I ain't Barry Bonds. I'm not, Skip, and you talk about tall sluggers. No, I think Mark McGuire's about 6'6", Aaron Judge is 6'8". So, but Skip, like I said, Skip, those guys had played baseball their whole life. They didn't play baseball, stop, go play something else. That'd be like Aaron Judge playing football and all of a sudden go back and try to pick up playing baseball.
I agree.
That's too far in between.
Look, Bo Jackson was obviously an all-star in baseball, but he was a college baseball star at Auburn. And he had a little bit of minor league and went straight at age 23 to the big leagues in Kansas City. Look at Deion Sanders. He played baseball and ran track at Florida State, a baseball power. So at age 20, he played a little minor league, and at 21, he's in the big leagues as a starting center fielder. And as you know, it's Yankees, Braves, Reds. He was a starting center fielder for even the Giants. So, again, could Michael have reached that apex? Probably not. I don't think he was as gifted as Deion or certainly as Bo was at baseball. No. But in the end, for what he accomplished in 1 year of Double-A and 1 Arizona Fall League was extraordinary, and I think he should be proud of what he did.
Yeah, for Michael Jordan, for that guy to be that high, Skip, and willing to lower himself down like that. Because normally, Skip, once you become great at something, you don't like to try a whole lot of other things because you're not good at it. You like to be great at everything that you do. So all of a sudden, you're trying baseball, something you haven't done in 14 years, and you're like, man, I'm Michael Jordan. And I'm sucking. I'm like the guys that Skip, that was on my team. I'm them here now. And the other guys are Michael Jordan, so to speak. So I'll commend him for that, Skip. For you to be the highest of the highs and willing to subject yourself to start from scratch again, Not the kid.
Baseball angle was so interesting, how it humbled him in so many ways. But guys, one Hall of Famer, well, he took a shot at MJ and his Bulls teams, and we'll give you the details.
Oh! Oh!